Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harping on Rugby preview show. And joining me to look ahead to Saturday's second match on Leinster's South African tour is someone making his 82nd pod appearance. Welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
1982, what a vintage year. Good to see you even after last weekend.
Indeed. Well, first up, normally at this stage we go over last week's match, but I've been racking my brain. I don't think Leinster had a match last week, Keego. Am I right?
I have a very fully functioning brain, as we all know, and I don't remember anything last
No.
weekend.
No, nothing really happened. So we can probably just move right along. No, seriously, you saw it, you got to see it. What'd you think of it?
Look, when you get off to a bad start, it's very difficult to come back. There were moments in the second half where the lads were starting to gel a little bit. Things that you mentioned last week, altitude, all that. Um, the worry is that there isn't enough wiggle room for these 2 weekends. We need, and again, that's got to be balanced with going into a semi-final in front of 82,000 people, where everyone needs to be fit. So, like, there's a massive amount of management and balance that is needed. It's not easy for the teams, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But it was tough to watch. But again, a kick in the you know what doesn't do us any damage. So we need that every once in a while.
Yeah,
Not
I
too
mean,
often.
no, exactly. We didn't expect it to be easy, but we thought it might be the altitude, and we might, at least if we're going to be struggling in the final stages, there at least might still be a contest. But the Lions, literally from the kickoff, just came at us from the go, and some amazing offloading and support play
Yeah.
from them. And there was I mean, the credit has to go to them as well for the way they approached that, and that was a comprehensive beating, all right. But listen, let's move on, and now it's time to look at our feature match of the week, which is, of course, the DHL Stormers v Leinster in round 15 of the 2023-24 BKT United Rugby Championship. It's taking place at the DHL Stadium, also known as Newlands, in Cape Town on Saturday, April the 27th, kicking off at 6:05 p.m. Irish time. TV coverage in Ireland is on TG Cahir, Premier Sports 2, and URC.tv. And as ever, you find the full listings for the weekend over at harpinonrugby.com. Just click the Rugby on TV tab. Leinster named their match day 23 at lunchtime on Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, it should be right there on the screen. Or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Now, Keego's come up with a couple of points about this team, starting with some injuries or the need to finish strong with under pressure.
Yeah, this is kind of what we were just talking about, and it is really being made clear this weekend. Yeah, last weekend's gone and all that sort of stuff, but we really can't afford slip-ups. Everyone wants home knockout rugby, forgetting about the money to be made there, just the comfort of sleeping in your own bed. So 2 weeks away, this is character building for the team, but we need them to respond with a performance tomorrow. We'll talk about the teams in a sec, but like, this is proper back to the wall stuff. They can put themselves in this mental frame of mind where it's put up or shut up now. Now, technically speaking, it's not that situation, but this is the moment where they can choose to put themselves in that mindset. Start quick, not like last week. We can't go back to the old ways of, we all trust systems, but we can't get it tested so early in the game. We need to go forward. That offensive defense that we keep talking about, that needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back one video on our YouTube feed, you'll see that on our last wrap pod, we spoke about the run-in, the general overall run-in, because we didn't want to talk too much about the Lions match. We found something else to talk about. We talked about the run-in and the four matches left for every team, and Leinster kind of find themselves. Like this time last year, I think we were so far out ahead that defeat in a match like this wasn't that important. Mm-hmm. But with a couple more defeats this season, it's a lot closer. And there's a kind of a group of four sort of formed at the top there. Ourselves, the Bulls, Glasgow, and Munster, who, with results going a certain way, any of them could finish top. And where it's not just going for the top four, you're going for the top two. Like you say, it's home advantage you're looking for. So every kind of point is advantage. And we may have hoped for at least maybe a losing bonus point last week. So we'll definitely be looking for something from this, but we've kind of gone because of the game next week. We've had to pick plus the travel in between. We picked a much, to say the very least, a less experienced team. There's some new caps in there, and just brings us on to your second point. We need those prospects to really stand up, and you singled out Prendergast.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I get what you're saying in terms of the inexperience, but it's also much like we talk about people playing Leinster having a free shot, similar to last weekend. the guys have a free shot. The experience isn't there. So if they think about it the right way, it's a free game to experience top level ball against top opposition, and a freedom, because we know what the squad is. We know, like, with the best will and blue jerseys on in the world, the team is the team. And if it comes down to a semi-final game, this isn't the team, but they're still worthy of getting in there, and there is a freedom behind that. I love Prendergast. He's a big boy, very imaginative. Can shift a tackle, can make a tackle, can make a call. He's a stubborn young fella, which we need in that jersey. I do wish there was a little bit more experience, at 9, but what happened last weekend happened last weekend. So again, it's a free call. The two of them hang around all week. This is what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? All that sort of stuff, because they would know fairly early in the week what the story was for tomorrow. So hopefully they can get in there and at least execute. Start well, execute well. If you want to find touch, go from Cape Town to Joburg with that ball. Just get that ball where you want it to be. But it's a big day for Prendergast, and he's a big boy. So let's see if he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, he showed he can do it. I mean, our match against the Lions last year went very differently, and he made a big difference in that
Yep.
game. So he's shown he can do it, even on these trips. But yeah, I mean, came up with a term last season. We didn't, but someone I think on the internet called the Reese Ruddock All Stars, and I think this is very close. This team is a perfect example of that. Now, there's a lot of players there who could get into a Champions Cup contention. Scott Penny, Max Deegan, Ruddock himself, Ed Byrne. There's a lot of teams there. But if you had to pick out players who are realistically likely to feature next week, I'd only say Charlie Natai, Jason Jenkins. There's only one or two there that could be in contention to play at Croke Park. So, like you say, it's a really good chance for these guys. It's a shot to nothing in many cases, to show they can do. There's a couple of new caps in there as well. Possibly yep. Gus McCarthy, hooker will come on. Jeremy Mangan only got a second cap there last week. I think Vincent Guns only had a couple of caps. Charlie Tector, I don't think he's been in the squad yep. for a good while. Martin Maloney was out injured for quite a while there on a 6-2 split bench. So there's a lot of possibilities there for players just to come out and show what they can do against strong opposition.
Yep, absolutely. Can I just throw in one more thing? I think last week showed the Bok teams how to play. If you look at the stats for the game, I was taking notes as we were trying to get started. They've scored less points, they've carried less ball, but they've offloaded far more than we have. They've better ruck success than we have. Now, there's a percentage margin of error there, but they have a better one on paper. Conceded less penalties, which is a big one, but they've forced more penalties out of opposition. So they're going to throw the ball around. They're going to put pressure on us. So that's where the basics and the kind of while it is a free shot, you've still got to do the job. And I do think our second row and back row are going to have a big job to do. So yeah, hopefully they can step up. Stubborn Reese Ruddock, that's what we want. Stubborn Prendergast, that's what we want. And just go for it. Don't let them walk onto you. You walk onto them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's been said about our defensive system, and we tweeted a bit this year. But the thing about any strong defensive system, you want to force the other team to have to be perfect to beat you. And the thing about that is that once in a while they will be perfect and they will beat you. We saw Ulster; they had this plan to go with the crossfield kicks. That works. Glasgow, first game of the season, they offloaded their way through us, and then the Lions last week. So it can happen, but we're just we need a strong another strong performance this week as well. And let's go on and look at that Stormers team now. They've pretty much gone. A lot of full-bore names in that team. Janchis, Libak, Gallant at fullback, Willemse, there's Evan Roos. We'll remember him from when we played the Stormers last down there. There's a lot of names that can hurt us there, and that's one of pretty much their top team almost.
Yeah, 100%. It's usually we say if you pick one team out of the starting 30 on the pitch, a lot of times it's mostly in blue. It's slightly different this week. They must have watched last week and thought, okay, anytime you beat Leinster, it's a big moment in your season, regardless of who you are. So they're coming to take another scalp, and we've got to be stubborn. It's may not be a game of skill, it's a game of being stubborn, and that's what we need.
Yep, definitely. And of course, they lost to the Ospreys last week at home as well. So they'll be hurting from that. And they'll
Yep.
be looking at this lineup and saying, well, here's a chance to make up from that and from the home crowd. So it's going to be tough. All right. Okay, let's look at the officials now. It's basically what's happened is the referee from last week in the TMO swapped places. Andrea Perardi, the Italian, is going to come in and hold the whistle there. The weather for Cape Town on Saturday evening, it's not as hot as it's going to be. It's an evening kickoff, but it's still like 18 degrees. We take that here in Dublin any time of the day. Clear, not much rain, not much wind, so it should be ideal conditions there. So that's that. So now we come to a stage where you pick another match from the URC schedule this weekend. What are you looking forward to seeing?
As always, I'm following Connacht as my second team. They're away to the Dragons. I'm just looking at the team here on the other screen. They've gone as strong as they can go. They're going to go for it. The form guide is pretty close, the two of them. I'm just hoping Connacht can just again, Irish stubborn nature. We need that for the end of the season, the business end of the season. Not necessarily about sexy rugby. It's just about getting it done. So fingers crossed for Connacht.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the teams at the top of the table, but there's a block of teams. I think it's from about fifth down to 11th. There's only 3 points separating them, and Ulster and Connacht are right in the thick of that. So every point's going to be crucial for them. So they've got some big matches coming up. Ulster as well, home to Benetton, and I think Munster are they're playing the Lions themselves this week, so they won't have it easy either. And of course, we can't let it go without giving a shout out to the Irish women. Now, a lot of people talk about that result at Twickenham, but I've said many, many times, you just cannot compare the two programs that were at play next weekend. The Red Roses are streets ahead of us in terms of their professionalism and basically, I suppose, the support you say that their team overall gets. We're looking to get there. We are taking steps to get there, but it's a long way. But what can happen this weekend if they can regroup and beat Scotland? You see the team there on the screen. They picked a strong team. If they could beat Scotland, and if other results go their way, they could even finish third. That's automatic World Cup qualification. Fourth means they've a very good chance of making it as well through another. They have to play another tournament first. And just getting into that World Cup would be a huge boon to this team. So it's a question of putting that result, Twickenham behind them, and get the result this weekend. And I'd say they can definitely do it.
Absolutely.
And so that leaves us with your actual prediction for the match against the Stormers. I'll leave it up to yourself.
I've gotten absolutely nothing right this season. Okay, so look, I bleed blue, but I think if we could leave there with a losing bonus point, that would be massive for that team. Massive. I hate to say it, I don't think it's there. I think we could be getting close to double digits down again, but I'm hoping for a good strong bonus point leaving there.
Yeah, it's all about how they how they play together and who steps up and stuff. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if this team put in a great performance. It's just a question of who they're up against and how early they can get into the game. If we can start a bit better and sort of grind our way through maybe the first half and grow in the second half, use the 6-2 split in the bench. You never know. But prediction wise, you don't like predicting a losing bonus point. You don't like saying you want a losing bonus point. But I think it's definitely realistic here. So fingers crossed we'll come away with something anyway. Okay, so listen, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us again. What stand-up gigs have you got coming up?
I am off to Waterford tonight to the Market Bar. So if anyone's listening to this, we will see you there at 8:00
on Friday night. And of course, all those relevant links are in the program notes. Well, cheers, man. Have a great weekend and hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
And many thanks to you all for tuning into our latest preview show. You can also tune into Dublin South 93.9 FM around 5 p.m. on Friday to check out our Harp and Rugby segment. Then be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are. You can follow us on all the usual social media channels. And we will, of course, have a wrap pod for you this week, recording on Sunday evening. So hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.